Sup everyone, this is Carrick with ACG, and it's my continuing mission to bring you reviews that aren't 2 minutes long or filled with sponsored bullshit. Today's epic yarn of mechanized mayhem is the Robot Jock Simulator, known as Titanfall 2 for the PS4, Xbox One, PC, and of course, in the future, the PS Pro. Respawn's sequel to the campaign-less Titanfall 1, Titanfall 2 aims to appease the multiplayer crowd with continued killing dynamics spread across a world smashed into oblivion by men and the robotic Pokemon known as Titans, as well as an all-new single-player campaign, which for folks of the first game is like hearing someone found out that chocolate and peanut butter might actually taste good together. So let's sit down and see how Respawn did on their second life, shall we? As always, if you like the video, maybe subscribe. So here's the review for Titanfall 2. Hi, I'm up here, the friendship of robots, and a game that rewards you for killing others by sending you giant robots to continue to kill others. What else can you ask for? Graphics are up first. One thing I have to do is hand it to these guys, because whether you're casting holy smoke water on a group of enemies as they close in for the kill, having to wade through your electric diesel fart of a Titan smoke defense, or you're leaping across deadly jungle ravines with the quickness, the game looks fantastic. It doesn't matter if it's on the Xbox One, the PS4, or the PC. It runs pretty well, and while using dynamic resolution on the consoles to hit 60 FPS when it can, the PC version seems rather well performing, though I did hear some folks having problems with stuttering, which sort of seems like the typical report on games these days on PC for some reason, sadly. I would say the Xbox One is the worst of them, with a little bit more of a frame rate hitch than the PS4. Here's the thing, Titanfall always had an incredibly interesting art design, not going full Macross or Battletech, and not going to that loader that Ridley Human rode in the Aliens movie, but instead, part middle of the road construction, part bad attitude, like the people put them together in an Iron Man 1 kind of component kit you can buy online. And that's what gives them such presence on the battlefield. You can feel and see the moving parts. Far more so than, say, the squishy human/robots that run around a battlefield, though I'd have to say that they aren't too bad looking either. Whether in multiplayer or single player, the step up in presentation on the levels is insanely noticeable, and while multiplayer levels will always look like multiplayer levels, I have to admit the single player locations sort of looked amazing, even if they do sometimes find you looking around wondering what alien race used their rock walls like Fred Flintstone roadways, which made them just the right size for you to wall run. If there's one thing, though, in Titanfall that continues to excel, is its presentation of almost apocalyptic levels of destruction with weight to different debris particle effects and explosions as you wade through a missile barrage that missed you by this much, you will inevitably end up stepping right into an enemy's human-sized shotgun, blasting huge marks out of your armor. And I gotta say, that kinetic feel is here in spades, and it's overall helped by the entire art presentation. I would say as a package I really like it, but I would certainly have liked those FPS numbers to be perfect on the consoles. Sound, music, and voice.
Valiant effort, team, but they won this one. War isn't over yet. Well on your way to getting your Titan.
And of course, sound is up first in this trilogy of audio awesome, and it's actually pretty damn good with an actual presence in the sound sphere that changes depending, of course, if you're inside of a Titan or out and running around just waiting to be human-caked by one of their huge-ass feet. The end result is an audio stream that does a tremendous job telling you where everyone is and was right before they exploded into some kind of red mist. There is something about leaping off the roof of a building just as a Titan slams down into the battlefield next to you and starts getting instantly belted by enemy fire that's both incredibly realistic sounding, but also a bit sphincter tightening. Really good sounds there. Now, weapon sounds very good as well, and most have an excellent thick tonal range with complex layers sounding throughout the entire shot, which is something that I felt the first one might have missed a little bit. Overall, great sound. Music. Yes, seemingly ordered from the generic Mr. Genericton's catalog of mundane hits, nothing within the music really grabbed me at all. When it wanted to be epic, it was. When it wanted to be sedate, it was. But it also was always unsurprising and ultimately completely cookie cutter for a title like this. Where we could have had some experimentation, we had really none. Voice. What you can say is what you can say. It's throwaway. And even if they have a campaign, which is fine, I wasn't really in love with what was done in there. It doesn't really do anything other than its job, and your robot best friend is there and has some funny lines, but even with the inclusion of this, it's really not that great. Gameplay. So here's the thing, the game's split. The first part is the main story, which involves you, a young recruit, somewhat getting insta-liked by a main commander, which, while normally would probably be the stuff of court-martials, here means that when the tough gets going, you end up getting a Titan right away. And from that point on, you have a short series of missions, maybe 4 to 5 hours tops, that really is a de facto demo and tutorial level cleaning up of bad tendencies you may have had from the previous game, or teaching newcomers a couple new things, or at the very least getting you acclimated. Now, you guys know I test AI on all the levels, and Respawn has never hidden the fact that the AI here isn't supposed to be that good, which is awesome because on hard, the campaign AI is something that I would consider easy anywhere else. And remember that also means the same in the multiplayer. Now, the rest of the game is the multiplayer, and it's a series of various game types, from total all-out killing, everyone bliss, all the way down to capture the flag, and even a mode where you all start out in Titans, ignoring any needed buildup. Where Titanfall 1 and 2 now excels is that strange dance you do at like 11 o'clock at night after 4 hours of playing, where you need to decide if you want to take that new boost or stay with the one you know you're good at, even though maybe it won't be as useful on the battlefield. Now, I have to say, I do actually like how the Titans are a bit more elemental based, and their appearance and overall styles are indeed changed from the original title, that's for sure. But in the end, you're still doing the thing. You're killing a bunch of people so you can get the power so that you can call down more Titans. Of course, as you go up in levels, you get kits. Now, this is equipment on your pilot and on your Titan that continues to do an excellent job making each Titan and pilot combo feel a bit unique. And I always love that feeling that just because you know that Titan that's bearing down on you like it wants to take a bite out of your crunchy center, it doesn't actually mean that its settings won't be different. For example, ejecting its core when you destroy it, effectively salting the earth around you and killing you in the process. There's so many different options here, and customization includes tons of skins and items that unlock, of course, at those later levels and powers. While the game now helps you shuttle from match to match, the true awesomeness here is these new networks, which is a bit like little baby guilds, and it allows you to join more than one, which means jumping into the online component, as long as you're not a walking asshole, you will most likely have other people who will want to play with you or that you will be able to join. Now, I'm always looking at TTK, and it seems about right for this title. Though it's a bit off compared to, say, Titanfall 1, I found that even a new player could hold their own for a moment, while a highly skilled one isn't just good at offensive capabilities, but understands that sometimes it's best to go hide in a bunker when a multi-ton off-balanced bipedal death machine decides it's clobbering time in an alley that seems suitable for only a friggin' Geo. That's what I loved about this, is if you're offensive, it doesn't mean you're just a good shot, it means sometimes you know to run your ass off. And of course, that only matters if control is good, and here it's nailed, especially in a game where you're basically replicating what the demise of humanity is going to look like. And whether you're sliding gravity-less style along a ruined building or smashing people under massive robot limbs, it works great, and gun control is insanely tight. Absolutely tight. And for the first time in as long as I can remember, almost no adjustments were needed. Sadly, not everything is perfect. The game still feels completely, unbelievably undermanned, and even though the levels have not been really stretched out to make you feel like you're engaged in long robot walks in the moonlight, the fact is, low player counts are noticeable right away. I'm not saying we need 64-64 battlefield fights, but man, it could do to maybe double those overall players. Also, no one is going to like every one of the match types. That's just normal in these games, and while that is, as I said, normal, I would have loved for Respawn to have stretched their wings, because every mode here feels incredibly, unbelievably safe, to the point where there is never a single surprise, even when you find out there's a Coliseum mode, which is great, but you sort of look at it and go, eh. So what's this GUI package all bring us to? Fun factor. You know, Titanfall easily eclipses the enjoyment of the first, and while many of those who love the original could probably count its problems on both hands, many of those are mitigated with a keen eye on Respawn's plans of replayability in number 2, including the single-player campaign, and of course the ability to do your own private matches, and even the gladiatorial arena in a small way. While Titanfall may not have set the world on fire, and 2 won't either, that giant tank-sized flamethrower I have probably will. Now, one last thing. One thing that is actually never fun is trying to connect, and I have to say, currently, the connection is really good on this game. The latency is excellent, and it also allows you to pick various servers and bounce around. If that changes, of course, I will always update the review. So I rate games on a buy, wait for a sale, rent, or never touch it again rating scale. This is easily a buy, though I'm not incredibly happy on its performance on the consoles as much. I can't wait to see what it looks like on the PS4 Pro. In the end, this is a game that's absolutely worth the cash, at least up front. It's going to be a damned blast to play. You know, it may end up dying out multiplayer-wise like another game, but for $60, you really can't ask for much more. There's a lot going on here. When you think about it, every game is different in the genre. In the end, all games like this have a little various trait that they require from the player, location, equipment, and situational awareness being the highest here. And I think that that offers something a little bit different than perhaps some of the other games. Now, I'm not saying quick twitch doesn't matter, but there is something here that feels almost intangible, and I love that about Titanfall. And I love it even more in Titanfall 2. So that's it for me, and as always, if you want reviews that aren't 2 minutes long, filled or sponsored bullshit, or possibly held back by a publisher, stick with ACG. Peace out, and enjoy the rest of your week.